Well, amen. How's everybody doing this morning? Good, good, good. Listen, if you will, join me in a word of prayer, please. Our God, we thank you so much for blessing us to be here this morning. We thank you, Lord, for not only blessing us to be here, but meeting us when we came in. We thank you, Lord, for allowing us to lift your name in praise and thanks for who you are and what you've done for us. And we come to that part in our service, Lord, where we need to settle our minds and our hearts and allow you to speak to us. So, Father, I'm asking that you would please help us to clear our minds, that you would help us to settle our spirits and allow us to tune in to you like we have never done before. Speak in such a way that we cannot miss it, Lord. I ask that you would draw us closer to yourself and speak so clearly that when we leave, we cannot be the same. We thank you and we love you for who you are. In the mighty name of Jesus, we ask it all and we pray. And everyone said together, amen. Amen. We are continuing today in our series called Happy Money. We've been on this series about how to be happy, a series called Happy Church since the beginning of the year, and we're talking about money, happy money. And so last week we started, and I think it's all on your handout in 1 Timothy chapter 6, starting at verse 9 and 10, and it says, people who want to get rich fall into temptation and a trap, and into many foolish and harmful desires that plunge men into ruin and destruction. For the love of money is the root of all kinds of evil. Some people eager for money have wandered from the faith and pierced themselves with many griefs. And so from that, there are several things that we began to talk about and we began to learn. And so I'm just kind of going to skip down. I'm not going to read all of the answers on here. But one of the things that we discovered last week is that there is a correlation between our money and our happiness. There is a correlation between our money and our happiness. The problem with most of us, as we discussed last week, is that we misunderstand the correlation. Most of us think that the correlation between money and happiness has to do with more. And so the idea for most of us is that if I get more money, then more money makes me happy. But the correlation between money and happiness has zero to do with more, but it has everything to do with manage. It is not how much more money I have, but it is how I manage what I do have that determines whether or not I'm happy. We saw this very poignantly last week when I asked the question, how much money do you need to be happy? And some people said $1 billion. And then I asked, what about 999,000? And they said they'd still be happy. And we whittled that thing all the way down to about $1 million, and folks still happy. And then we got down to about, somebody told me, they said they were listening online last week, and they said that part was the funniest part for them because they said it was interesting when we started talking about 100,000 and people were talking about they wouldn't be happy, and then they said, no, and I would be happy if somebody gave me an extra $20. And so the issue of more doesn't determine happiness. We learned that last week. The issue is how we manage what we have. And so what we said was the reason why more doesn't make us happy is because all of us are afflicted with a particular thing, and we are all afflicted with the habit of greed. Ecclesiastes said, in chapter 1 of Ecclesiastes, verse 8, everything is wearisome beyond description. No matter how much we see, we are never satisfied. No matter how much we hear, we are not content. And so the writer of Ecclesiastes, what he's getting at, what he's saying, he's giving us a look into the human mind and the human spirit. And there's something about us that is not content with what we have. We always prefer something else, so that we never see enough. We never hear enough. There's never enough for us. And contentment becomes one of the super difficult things that we have to manage. If you just kind of look back over your life for a minute, I'm sure you would agree. You've looked at someone else's stuff. Matter of fact, I'm sure we've all experienced this. Have you ever had your own sunflower seeds? And you were, and your sunflower seeds were cool, but then you didn't eat them all. But then, isn't it weird how somebody else's sunflower seeds taste better than your own sunflower? You know what I'm talking about? And so it's really, really interesting that we just have, and it's a mental thing. We have a preference for someone else's stuff. We're literally, we tend to be happier with someone else's life than we are our own. And so there's this issue of not being content. And because of that, we kind of tend towards greed. All of us do. We tend towards greed. And we looked last week and we decided, we understood, we learned that there were three main causes of greed. The first cause of greed is personal discontentment. Personal discontentment. So that when I'm not satisfied or happy with me, then I look for satisfaction, happiness, meaning, all of those types of things in things. So in other words, the idea with personal discontent is if I'm not happy with who I am, then the tendency is for me to try to add things to who I am as proof of who I want to be. And so that kind of tends to end up in a place of greed. And then we said that all of us kind of have just this sin nature inside of us. And we looked at that we're kind of given to greed. And then we said, lastly, that the thing that leads to greed, and this was a tricky one, is awareness. Awareness is tricky. It's not wise to go window shopping, is all I'm saying. It's not wise. Because all of us have had the experience that when you see something, all of a sudden you go from liking it to I need that. And awareness pushes us toward brokenness because it makes us spend and spend and spend and spend and it's we like have you ever I have a Dodge Ram truck, 1500 Hemi truck, and it's nice. I like it. When I bought it, it was nice. I loved it when I bought it, and then when I got lifetime oil changes on that thing. I don't have to pay for them. I just take it to the place and then just let them change the oil, and they just change it and give it back to me, and you know what I mean? That's wonderful. And then I went up there for an oil change, and then I wandered down back to the showroom, and they had a newer model Dodge truck 1500 Hemi. And in mine, right, in my truck, I have a 6-disc CD changer. So and it plays MP3. So I can make MP3s. I can put 100 and something songs on the disc. I can put it in my thing, and I can have 6 of them. I can have probably 600 and something songs in my radio at one time at my control. Well, when I went to go look at the new truck, they don't have no CD changer. They got a whole hard drive in there. And they were like, you can upload. And I was like, upload? Yeah. Yeah, you can upload. You can record from you can record. Oh, listen, I need a new truck. That's what I need. I'm outdated. Listen, And so, and again, awareness makes us greedy. It makes us greedy. Awareness. I'm telling you, like we have completely gotten out of fixing broke things. Right? Like we don't fix broke things. That's not what we do. You know what I mean? When things broke, when things are broke now, they broke. And so we go get another one as opposed to fixing that which is broke. And so, and it's just really, really weird kind of how all of this works. And so, and the reality of it is it keeps us in a state of spending, always broke. And a lot of it has to do with our awareness. I don't know if many of us really understand how aware we actually are, or how strong the push is from our culture to keep us aware of new things coming out. There is a constant push. Have you ever, watch it. You ever gone online and looked up something? Or went to Amazon and looked up something? And then went back to your Facebook or your Instagram, and all of a sudden you start seeing you know what I'm talking about? Listen, why? Because they're trying to keep you spending. There's a couple of games we like to play. One of the games that we play online, me and my wife, we play is this solitaire game. And so in the solitaire game, they play commercials. Interesting thing. They play commercials between things that you do. So you play in the solitaire game, then commercial comes on, and then the commercials come on, and we always like, oh, I hate these commercials. And then you boop, and then you hit the X, when they let you, so you can get past the commercial and get back playing the game. But sometimes they don't let you get rid of the commercials, and then you just sitting there kind of watching this commercial, and you don't like the commercial, but you can't help the effects that seeing this commercial over and over and over again have on you. So they had this one commercial with this, what's that thing called? The endoscopy something? What is it? What is it? Endoscopy. Y'all know what that is? It's like this long cord with a camera at the end of it, right? And yeah, it's what they use when they do colonoscopies. But it's like now I know what it is, right? So it's an endoscopy kind of thing, and you hook it to your cell phone, right? So you hook that thing to your cell phone, and then you can take this thing and you can put it all over the place, and you can see behind walls and all kind of stuff. And when I saw it on my feed, I probably saw it like 30 times, but the 31st time I saw it, it was like, you know what? I think I need that right there. I think I need that like that. I don't know how I live life without that. Right? So, And then I made up an excuse why I needed it. You know what I mean? It's like, okay, my mama want me to move her TV from this wall to that wall, so I need to know where the studs are. Okay, forget the stud finder I just bought. I need to cut a hole in the wall, put the endoscopy thing in there so I can see. Listen, then awareness. It just keeps us spending. Now, because awareness keeps us spending, and this is the last part on your handout where we left off. Awareness moves us to discontent. Whenever we become discontented, discontent leads to desire. Why? Because I want something else now, because I'm not content with what I have. Once my discontent turns into desire, it quickly becomes longing. It's where I have to have it. I'm thinking about it. I'm dreaming about it. And when I'm thinking about it and I'm dreaming about it, then I move into justifying. Justifying is creating reasons why I need this. How many of us have ever bought something not because you needed it, but because it was on sale? Right? That's what we say, right? It's on sale. Listen, it ain't gonna never be this low no more. I need to go on and, right? And they create. And listen, and advertisers create stuff. They tell you to get it now at this price. I have 5 at this price. Listen to me. Me and my wife made an agreement years ago because we had a rash of people coming by the house telling us that this was the only time they was coming through and they would be here, and if we didn't get it today, they couldn't promise us the deal. And so we said, well, if you can't come back tomorrow, you don't need the money that bad, right? And so we stopped doing that because we were buying everything, right? It was like, oh, this is the last day to get it, give it here. Right? And so, and what I found was people who are selling stuff never have a last day to get something. They always want your money. So, but advertisers create things like this to help get us in the door so we can keep spending. And we begin justifying. And justifying, after I have fully justified myself, then that moves me into purchasing. So now somebody else has my money and I have their depreciated stuff. That's how that works. Now, because we are given to excess, this leads us, because again, we don't know stop, we don't know quit, right? We have a habit of being greedy, and our greed exceeds how much we bring in to be greedy with. And because our greed exceeds the amount of money we bring in to be greedy with, just because the money is run out, do you think we stop? We don't stop. Stopping is for suckers. Are you serious? You a chump if you stop. We don't stop, which leads us to our next happy word, debt. Debt. Right? Debt. Woo! Put your seatbelts on. Debt. Here's where money is least happy. Money is least happy when we're dealing in debt. In debt. Listen, because, my gosh, debt, listen carefully. Debt, I'm going to make a lot of statements about what debt is. I need you to write all this down. Debt is a trap. You have to see it that way. Debt is a trap. And the bad thing about it is you don't know it's a trap until you get in it. You don't know it's a trap until you try to get out of it. And you don't know that it was a trap until you're completely out of it. In fact, debt is so much a trap that they have created vehicles for you to borrow your way out of debt. You know what I'm talking about? It's called a consolidation loan. A consolidation loan is, listen, think about that. I am in so much debt because I owe. I have a solution. What's the solution? Borrow more money so you can get out of owing more money. Here's what a consolidation loan does. Here's all it does. It takes the amount of money you have to pay on a monthly basis and it reduces it. It doesn't take the balance down. You still have to pay the balance. And the problem with that is because we're greedy, if we don't fix the greed issue, when we see some margin in how much, so before I was paying $900 a month out toward debt, now I got a consolidation loan, I only have to pay $500 a month. Now that's a $400 increase or gap. And what do? We run that thing right back up. Right? Debt is a trap. It's a trap. Debt is a lie. It's a lie. Debt is a lie. Debt is a lie. Why? How do you know? Because debt, listen carefully. Debt convinces us that we own what we really don't. It's a lie. Right? People say, look what I just bought. If you bought it on a credit card or you financed it, you didn't buy something. You are renting right now. Right? You are rent. For all of us with car notes, you didn't buy a car, you rented a car. And until you pay off that rent, you don't own it at all. If you think you own it, stop paying. Right? It's funny. I'm telling you, debt is a lie because it convinces us we own stuff we don't. Debt convinces us that we make more than we do. It convinces us we make more. Why? Because debt allows us to acquire the next lifestyle that we haven't obtained. Y'all all right? Debt convinces us that we can be happy, and it never delivers. It never delivers. And it's amazing. Oh my God, credit card companies are, listen, they are geniuses. They are geniuses. How do you know? Because credit card companies, oh my God, listen to what they do. Can I testify? I remember I was so happy, right? Listen, I was trying to apply for a credit card, right, when I was coming up. I didn't have my first credit card until I was in my 20s, until I was married. And I think I piggybacked off my wife, and I ended up with a credit. I was so happy to get a credit card with my name on it. Oh, listen, I got a credit card. I was somebody. Are you serious? So, right, credit card, they're amazing. And then they tell you, right, and then if you keep borrowing money and you keep paying it back, right, so get this, like this costs this much money, I'm going to borrow it from them, I'm going to pay, listen, so Ravonda selling something, what she's selling is $100. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to Jay and Lachelle and I'm going to ask them to loan me $100. They're going to loan me the $100. I'm going to give the $100 to Ravonda. Ravonda's going to give me what she's selling. Then I pay back Jay and Lachelle their $100 plus interest. So by the time I finished paying back the $100, I probably paid back like $120 on something that cost $100, which means this: I had $120, but I was more than happy to pay more than what something was worth. And credit card companies, oh my God, listen to what they do. They will hype you all the way up. We're going to send you a gold card. Ooh, got me a gold card. Listen, you have just reached the master's level in our program. We're sending you a platinum card. Boy, listen, you can't talk to me. I got a platinum card. Right? We're going to send you a diamond. Boy, I got me a diamond card. Right? Listen, then don't pull out a black card. Because when you pull out a black card, everybody around you goes, woo, you got a black card. Let me tell you what all them cards do. All them cards do is allow you to borrow more money and pay more interest. That's it. Right? Like, it would be nice if they sent me a gold card and it was real gold. Now we talking. But you sent me a piece of plastic that's colored in gold. You sent me a piece of plastic that was colored in platinum. Like, send me a for real diamond card. Yeah. Send me that. You know what I mean? Like I can wear that thing. Credit card companies has figured out how to get us excited about being in debt. To the point we brag about how much debt we can be in. Debt is a lie. It's a lie. Tap your neighbor and say, it's a lie. Here we go. Watch this. Watch this. Proverbs 22:7. Y'all gonna love and hate this verse at the same time. Watch this. Proverbs 22:7. The rich rule over the poor, and the borrower is a slave to the lender. Did you get that? The rich rule over the poor, and the borrower is a slave to the lender. Isn't it amazing that for people that spent 344 years in slavery, that we would now be happy and volunteer ourselves to go back into it? Listen to me, I'm telling you, it is a trap. Debt is a trap. Debt, matter of fact, say that with me. Debt, it's a trap. Debt, it's a lie. Why? Because debt puts you in slavery. Here we go. Next on your handout, number 2. Watch this. Or A. Wanting, matter of fact, you need to make this your life statement. Wanting is better than owing. Anybody know what I'm talking about? Wanting is better than owing. I would rather want something than to owe somebody for it. I'm so serious right now. I would rather want something rather than, I would rather sit and look and dream and drool and be like, oh, I wish I had that, than have to pay for something that I'm not ready to pay for. Listen to me. I'm serious. I'm serious. It is better to want than it is to owe. How many of you have ever bought something that you wanted, and then when you wanted, you didn't want what you wanted a minute ago? After you got it, you were like, you know what? If I could take this thing back, right? Why? Because you recognize that you were able to get what you wanted, but then after you got what you wanted, it was too expensive for you. The cost of your happiness was too expensive. And why does debt cost us happiness? Because here's what debt does. Debt makes us slaves. And whenever you're a slave, you have a great sense of a loss of control. Loss of control breeds fear. And it is impossible to be happy and afraid at the same time. You missed that? Let me give it to you again. Debt puts us in slavery. When you become a slave, you have an immediate sense of the loss of control. When you lose control, that breeds fear. That's why some of us don't like riding in the passenger seat. Come on, tell the truth, right? You don't like riding with people, right? You don't like it. Not that you can't, you don't like it. Why? Because, and especially if they drive a little funny, right? Like, you don't like it. Why? Because, and here's what happens. You're sitting in the passenger seat and you got your own steering wheel and your own foot pedals over on your side. They're invisible, but they are there. Right? And you right? Right? Because you sense a loss of control. And a loss of control, it breeds fear. And it's hard to be happy and afraid. Like, you can ride with somebody, and if you don't like the way they drive, listen, in mid-drive, you pull it over. Let me out. Right? You would rather walk than ride because the fear is too great. Anybody know what I'm talking about? Right? So that's debt. That's what it does. So listen, watch this. Debt, well, listen carefully. Debt trades years for moments. That's what it does. It trades years for moments. Have you learned it's easier to get into something than out of something? Debt trades years for moments. Going into the dealership, seeing your ride, starting that thing up, new car smell, whoom, driving off the lot, hitting by your friend's spot, everybody, woo, moments. Nobody is going, woo, after 25 payments. Y'all all right? So I guess you can see I'm kind of passionate about this thing, debt. I don't like debt, right? And so here's what debt does. Debt, B, on your handout, debt exchanges roles. It exchanges roles. What debt does is debt makes slaves out of men. Because there's a role that you have in life, that we have in life, and there's a role that money has in life. And what debt does is debt causes us and money to switch roles. So here's what happens. When I'm in debt, right, here's the right way to see it. The right way to see our relationship with money is that people are the masters and money works for people. Right? People are the masters and money works for people. My money works for me. It does what I tell it to do. It goes where I tell it to go. Right? I tell it what to do. I control it. And if I want something, I can go get it because I have it. I can exchange it. I can send it out to do something, and I can tell my money to make sure that they get. I can tell my money to make sure that it has my money. Listen, you are a pimp, and your money is. Listen, however I got to get it through to y'all, I'm working on this thing today. Listen, you tell your money what to do. You're the master. You the big pimp. So you tell your money to go get my money. That's what you tell your money to do. But when you go in debt, the roles switch. And your money becomes the master. And you become the slave. And now your money is telling you, go on out there and get more of me. Listen, and do whatever you got to do to get me. Money all of a sudden tells us what to do. Money is the master, and then people are the slaves. People end up working for money rather than money working for people. Y'all all right? You sure you all right? Here's the latest statistic. 63 to 67% of Americans are one paycheck away from financial disaster. One paycheck. Most Americans, and this is middle class, most middle class Americans, what we would consider middle class Americans, listen, cannot handle a $500 emergency. If we don't have the capacity to handle a $500 emergency without borrowing, we're in trouble. In fact, we're beyond trouble at that point. Most middle-class Americans do not have $1,000 in any savings anywhere. Y'all all right? I didn't mean to depress y'all. I didn't mean to depress y'all. But see, here's the thing. Whenever we go to talking about money, people get quiet. And let me tell you why. Because most of us are using our money for a veneer of happiness. And once somebody pulls away the veneer, what's revealed is the deep sadness we have because our money isn't happy. Y'all still all right? What's the problem with going in debt? What's the problem with borrowing? What's the problem with being a slave? Here's what Jesus says. No one can serve two masters. That's what no one can serve two masters. Either he will hate the one and love the other, or he will be devoted to the one and despise the other. You cannot serve both God and money. One of them is going to get served. The other one is going to get dissed. I'm convinced the majority of the issue that people have when it comes to giving at church has zero to do with money. It has everything to do with not being happy because I'm a slave to the money, and the money is telling you you can't afford to do it. And we as preachers, we don't help. Why? Because many of us, we try to make you feel guilty because you don't give. So what we're doing, we're shaming the victim in the name of God. That's why, as I'm going through this, if you notice, I hadn't mentioned nothing about giving nothing to church. Why? Because what I'm trying to focus on now, I'm trying to focus on your personal, private, financial state where you can be happy and be confident about who you are and how you live in this world with the resources that God has blessed you with. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about church giving later. I'm telling you, listen, oh my God, it is so hard to be happy when your money's not right. It is so hard to, listen, we can manufacture smiles. I'm telling you, we buy happiness. I'm not talking about buying happiness or purchasing things to make you happy momentarily. I'm talking about being able to have so much money in the bank where it's just sitting there. You don't have to spend it. And if something come up, you like, good. Okay, cool. What's next? I don't care. I ain't even tripping. Listen, lay me off. I ain't even tripping. Why? Because you're not worried. Why? You're not worried because you already know you have something set aside to help take care of you. And you're not, and here's the key. When you are a slave, you are beholden to somebody. And where I'm trying to help you to get to, I don't want you to have to be beholden to anybody. You should not have to go to a job and be talked to like a dog and can't say anything or do anything because they're going to let you go. You need to be able to stand up like the man of God or the woman of God that you are, walk into your job, and if somebody is mistreating you, then you need to be able to speak your mind and speak the truth, and if they let you go, you need to be able to be cool with it and walk yourself out the door and not have to worry about what you're going to do for the next year if you don't find anything. That's freedom. And I'm not going to be happy until every single one of you get to that place. You have to get there. Because it's no fun being a slave. Jesus says you can't serve two masters. He says you can't serve God and money, which means this, that when your money isn't right, listen to this, you can't even do what God commands. When your money is not right, you're constantly battling between doing what your money tells you to do or doing what God tells you to do. Some of us have living situations that aren't right that we can't even get out of. Why? Because we did it for the money. Am I talking to myself? Do y'all, anybody in here know what I'm talking about? I'm talking about being free. You walk around. Listen, it's so much better to drive in your hoopty and be like, I could buy that, but I ain't going to. Right? It's nice to drive through a nice neighborhood and be like, I can buy one of them. I ain't finna. Not right now. Right? It's better to want than to owe. All right, here we go. How much time I got? Am I almost out of time? Okay, so now here's the thing. Here's the question. How do I know if I'm in love with money? How do I know if money is my master? How do I know if my money is serving me or if I'm serving my money? How do I know? You got to ask yourself this question and answer it honestly. Have you ever done anything stupid to get it? Have you ever done anything stupid, immoral, unethical, ungodly, unwise, just to get paid? If the answer is yes, well, we know. All right, here we go. Now, under freedom, everybody say freedom. Now, freedom, financial freedom is called one word: discipline. We don't have that, Miss V. It's called discipline. Now, this is where some of you are going to hate me the most. Here we go. You don't have that page?
That's what I told Rob this morning. You ahead of the game today. I can't believe it.
Oh. We forgot to print another page. That's what that is. All right, so if Kiki can find it, she will. She's a fabulous help. So if she can find it, she will. If not, I need y'all to find some paper and write down everything I'm about to say. All right, here we go. Listen. All right. Getting out of financial slavery is called discipline. Discipline. All right? Getting out of financial slavery is called discipline. Now, here's what discipline is, okay? Discipline is delaying gratification. Delaying gratification until all necessary needs are met. Discipline. Delaying gratification until all necessary needs are met. Y'all with me? Here we go. That means this: if I don't have it, I can't afford it. Let that sink in. If I don't have it, I can't afford it. You got to be able to say that. If I don't have it, I can't afford it. Which means this: if it's not sitting somewhere, I don't have it. You missed it, I give it to you again. If I don't have it, I can't afford it. So, Ravonda's selling something that's $100. I don't have $100. I can't afford it. Wait a minute, what's in my account? I don't have $100 in my account. I can't afford it. I don't have it. If I don't have it, I can't afford it. Which means Ravonda needs to keep her $100 item. Because I can't afford it. And I can't afford it because I don't have it. And it needs to be sitting somewhere in order for me to claim that I have it. Which means this: counting money coming in doesn't mean you have it. Let that sink in. Because this is how we do. Okay, they want that for this. Okay, all right. So if I do this, okay, can I put 50 on it? Because I know next Friday I'm gonna have, and then I can take that, and then I get my taxes back, and then I'm gonna put. Listen, you don't have it. That's way too much math. You can take that money and go back to school. You don't have it. Money coming in is not money you have. If you are in the carpool lane and pregnant and you talking about it's 2 people in the car, you get a straight ticket because you cannot count the baby that ain't here yet. That makes sense every place else, but when we talk about money. Listen to me, if money coming in doesn't mean you have it. You don't have it. Y'all all right? Here we go. If all my needs are not met, I can't afford it. If all of my needs are not met, I can't afford it. Say that with me. If all my needs are not met, now let's define need. Let's define need. Pizza isn't need. Starbucks isn't need. Cable isn't need. Got him. Got him. You gotta have cable if you can afford it. High-speed internet isn't a need. And right now, some of y'all arguing with me. And that's okay, because here's what I know. You can go on and make things that you want your needs, but you'll never get out of the hole. Because I'm telling you, high-speed internet is not a need. It's a want. It's a desire. You live the majority of your life without high-speed internet. Why can't you do it now? You live the majority of your life without cable television. Why can't you do it now? So you remember the old TVs with the antennas, and you had to put some foil on one, and then you had to go get the pliers and move the knob. You remember that? You lived. But I need high-speed internet. No, you don't. Listen, you need internet, get you a cell phone. Turn on your hotspot. Don't run over to AT&T and get them real high-priced cell phones and plans. Go on over there and get you a Metro or a Cricket or some other kind of... Get you barely what you need. So, see, here's what I've learned. if you're willing to sacrifice for a moment, you can splurge for a lifetime. There's a lot of stuff that are not needs that we make needs. Watch this. Living in your own apartment or home is not a need. You cut me deep. No, listen to what I'm telling you. It's not a need. It's a strong want. Let me tell you why we make it a need. We make it a need because we want comfort and control. And what we hate is to live in somebody else's place because it removes some of our controls and we can't be completely comfortable. That's the problem. And some people got weird personalities and it's like, I can't deal with that. Right? And we make up all kind of reasons. Listen, we make up all kind of reasons why we have to go and make somebody else rich. Because that's what's happening. Have you looked at rent in the Bay? Average rent in the Bay? Babe, what's average rent in the Bay? 3-bedroom, 2-bath. Give me one for house and apartment. 25 for average? Okay. And $3,200 for a 3-bedroom house in Richmond. Yes. And a 2-bedroom in Oakland. 1 bath. $2,500 every month. How much is it for 1 bedroom? $2,300 for a 1-bedroom in Berkeley. And you can turn around in 4 steps in the kitchen. 1, 2, 3, 4. You can cook like this. For $2,400. Are you serious? Listen to me. If you listen, let me put this out. If you spending $2,400 for a 1-bedroom, listen to me. I got a 4-bedroom house. I will give you a room and your own bathroom. Okay. If you will likely give me them $2,400. I'll make a spot for you in the garage. Give you alarm codes and everything. Just listen, I will buy your own TV. I will have it installed in your room. I will put 2 TVs in your room so you can watch things. $2,400 a month? Are you serious? Listen. Yes, ma'am. 2-bedroom what? Where's that? In El Cerrito. Oh, yeah, you know El Cerrito High. Yes, ma'am. So you got a whole bread and breakfast thing going. Listen, kudos. No, so seriously, here's what I'm saying. This is what we do as black people. This is what we do. We get together, and I've been a part of these conversations. We get together, don't we? And we talk, don't we? And what we talk about is how Asians can live together, Hispanics can live together, Indians can live together, and then we talk about, but we can't live together. and we complain about it. And when we're done complaining, all 7 of us go to 7 different locations where we are paying over $15,000 to $20,000 a month in rent, and we can't figure out that the 7 people talking about it need to come together and pay $2,500 to one person and save over $15,000 a month so that we can disperse it and purchase and listen. Why? Because what we want is comfort. Yes, ma'am.
I watched something this weekend about black people spending black money in America with ourselves, you know, and they said that Chinese people keep their money 11 days. White people keep their money 7 days. Black people keep ours 6 to 8 hours. 8 hours.
Yep.
I thought that was crazy.
Yeah.
That was crazy.
Yeah. We are the number 1 consumer in the nation. And before you start cheering, we are number 1. That's not good. That's not good. That's not good. Listen, it's not good. So here's my point. So listen. Here, if now, this is probably one of the biggest points in the message that you're going to argue with me about the whole time. And the part, I'm telling you, and you're going to argue because you're going to try to make what are not needs, needs. And what needs to happen, and here's the key. This is not about just not spending more money. This is about not spending money with a plan. Listen to me carefully. It's about not spending money with a plan. Some of us, we know what it's like to have people live with you and you call yourself helping them save money, and they have no plan though. And because they have no plan, all the money you save them, they shopping, they partying. That's no bueno. I'm talking about, so for instance, if Country and CJ and Gary and Fred, right? If they gonna all move together, right? If they gonna all move together, let's say they bought a 4-bed. Let's say they didn't have the money to buy, but let's say they rented like a 4-bedroom house, something like that. Maybe it's $3,000 a month. If Country go get his own place, he gonna spend, we just heard, the averages from 25 to 3, right? So let's go higher because it's, so 3. CJ gonna go get his own place. That's 3. How much is that now? 6. Gary gonna go get his own place. How much is that now? Fred gonna go get his own place. How much is that now? They can all come together, 4-bedroom place, everybody get a room, they pay $3 to one person. How much is saved every month? $9,000. So perhaps they form some type of business or LLC, some type of conglomeration or partnership, and with a $9,000 a month equity that they have between each other, what does it look like to go and purchase a home, listen to me, that they rent out? And they make profit off of what they rent out while they're owning. You understand what I'm saying? Because it's nothing for them to split $3,000 among 4 people. That's easy. You can do that all day. But for them to own a piece of property together, and maybe if they put their heads together and they put their coins together and they put their minds together, perhaps what they do is they go in and buy a duplex or a triplex or a fourplex or whatever, and now you're getting multiple streams of income so that if you don't rent to one person, at least you got 2 or 3 other streams coming in because you have invested in a piece of property that you own that appreciates in value, that turns a profit for you every month. And then when they want to go buy their own house, what they do is they save up the money that they're saving every week, and they take the profit that they're making from the home that they purchased, and that's the money they use to go and buy their own places. And they synchronize it to do it simultaneously so that you don't have two people leave and now two people are strapped with a $3,000 rent while the other two, you understand what I'm saying? Does that, am I making a little sense? Right? Listen, and I need you to understand, this is not, and I'm not talking about some pro-black, no, I'm not even talking about that. I'm just talking about, from a biblical perspective, let's just be realistic and let's be real. We cannot be happy and our money ain't right. So let me give you the formula for how you should live, and we're out. This is the formula by which you should seek to live. Here we go. Here's optimal living chart. Number one, you make 100% of whatever you bring in. Make 100% of that, bring that in. You give away 10%. You just give that away, 10%. And we'll talk about why giving is important. It's way more important than what you think, but we'll talk about that next week. Why is giving important? Number two, you want to save. You want to save at least 10% of everything you bring in. You want to save at least 10%. A part of that, you might want to write a little notation on the side. You want to write this down. You really can't afford to do anything. You need to cancel all vacations, take your car back, go get you a hoopty, do whatever. And you need to do that until you can have at least 6 months of living expenses at your current style of living in an account somewhere that you have forgotten about. It's called an emergency fund. And you need to have your emergency fund funded. Why? Because if you don't have your emergency fund funded, every emergency is two emergencies. Number one, you have the issue that you're dealing with, and then number two, you got to figure out how in the world you're going to fix it. When you have an emergency, wouldn't it be nice just to have one emergency? Right? Wouldn't it be nice if someone close to you and your family passed away? Wouldn't it be really, really nice for you to just take off as much time as you need? Yeah. So you want to make 100% of what you make. You want to give away 10% of what you make. You want to save 10% of what you make. And then you want to invest 10% of what you make, at least. Why? Because you are the big pimp when it comes to your money. Your money needs to go make money for you. And then lastly, you live on the rest. That's 70%. If I'm living on more than 70% of what I bring in, I'm upside down. 70% is a healthy cushion that we need to strive for. 70%. And that's what we need to live on. The current status of Black America at this point, we live on 110% of what we make. Hence debt. Whew. Y'all all right? Listen, I know this is not easy, but I'm telling you, if you get it into your spirit, it's helpful. It's helpful. So, Father, in the name of Jesus, we thank you for who you are. We thank you for what you have done. We thank you for all that we have heard. And I ask more than anything, God, that you would allow your words to sink deep into our hearts, into our minds, into our spirits. God, I'm asking that you would, when I ask that you would change us from the inside out, Lord, that's not just a prayer. You know my heart is that you really would change us. Because the issue with money and debt is not about money, it's about us. Amen. Change us, Lord. Change us so that we can see different, so that we can be different. And I ask that you would do it all in Jesus' name. Everybody standing. Everybody standing. So if you're here today and you need to surrender your life to Christ, or you need to renew your commitment to Him, you're looking for a church home, all of that is available. And so when we dismiss, if that sounds like you, I'm going to ask that you would just meet us up front. And anyone standing behind me can help you in any one of those things. If you need to surrender your life to Christ, if you need to renew your life to Him, if you're looking for a church home, anybody up here can help with that. If you want someone to pray with you, anybody up here can do that. We're standing here for you. Turn to your neighbor, look him in the eye, grab him by the hand. Give him a hug first. Now give him a smile. And look at him and go, woo! Neighbor, I'm going to need you to get your money right. Neighbor, if you're willing to delay gratification for a moment, you can be satisfied for a lifetime. So neighbor, I'm going to pray for you. I'm going to pray with you. And I'm going to do it myself. Let's get our money right together so we both can be happy. I love you, and I mean it. Amen. Amen. See you next week. God bless you guys. I love you. Love you so much. See you next week.